Welcome back to How to Tickle Yourself. I'm your host, Duff McDonald, along with my co-host, Matt McButter. Have I mentioned that I love kombucha? I drink it all day long. Joey and I make our own these days, but I am also thoroughly transfixed by the rapidly evolving and growing commercial kombucha industry. It's like watching something being born. And while we try not to play favorites here on How to Tickle Yourself, we're going to make an exception this one time. The best commercially available kombucha in the New York region, bar none, is Laughing Gut Kombucha. Brewed by today's guest, Adam Benziger, just down the road from here in Poughkeepsie. It's the favorite non-Rockledge kombucha of everyone who lives in this house, including my 13-year-old daughter. Their core flavors are amazing. Chamomile and mint, Rabois ginger, star anise and orange zest, lavender, butterfly pea flower, and green tea. Adam has figured something out about the delicate balance between flavor and subtlety that makes for a great kombucha. It's what I'm searching for in my own making of it, but he got it. He nailed it so well that he launched a company. We love it so much that Joey and I asked if we could come visit him at his tap room last week. This is a guy who's following his tickles all the way to deliciousness. Welcome to the show, Adam. We're thrilled to have you here because, well, at least for me, you're basically one of my idols at this point.
Yeah, glad to be here.
At the present moment, my love, my dear, everything's connected. This life, this world, it's all right now, right here. Right now, right here. Right now, right here.
So, Laughing Gut Kombucha, one of the funniest things, or the first things about it is you got a great logo and you got a great name, Laughing Gut. Where'd it come from?
So kind of the name came from, we were just thinking of names and coming up with names. I actually thought of Happy Gut, but that name was taken by another company, like a probiotic company. And we looked up like a synonym for it, and laughing came up as a word. So we decided to kind of go with that. And then I kind of went with the hedgehog, just because like hedgehogs, you can turn them over and you can rub their belly and they kind of like look like they're laughing. So it's good for your stomach and you make people laugh by drinking it,
Matt, this is what he's talking about.
Yeah, a little hedgehog, yeah.
I looked at it. I was wondering. I thought it was a hedgehog for a second. I thought it was like a stomach. Yeah, I thought it was a laughing
same
stomach.
Same here.
Yeah.
So, Adam, you're 34. You've been doing this for a couple years now. Tell us how you got into to be a brewer of commercial kombucha. How'd you get here?
Yeah, a lot of it did kind of actually happen by accident. So I went to school for hospitality management, hotels, restaurants, that sort of thing. And then in college, I kind of got into beer and started to get into some more higher end beers and kind of took an interest in that. And when I graduated college, I started home brewing beer, did that for a while and kind of wanted to pursue it a little bit. So I did internships at Yonkers Brewing Company. And I did this program called Masasa. If you're Jewish, you can go to Israel for 5 months and live there for 5 months and work in like your field and do like an internship. So I did one at this brewery called the Dancing Camel, which is Israel's first microbrewery. And then from there, I took some brewing science classes at Seibel Institute. It's in Chicago. And then I worked at some local breweries here. But it turned out that I actually was having major stomach issues and stuff like that. And it turned out that I actually had a gluten allergy and a problem with gluten. So I tried to slowly transition kind of out of that. And I like making stuff at home. So I just kind of started, brewing kombucha at home. I'm not sure where I heard it or where I saw it. I think it was like, like everybody, the kombucha mama, like kombucha camp. I got a kit from her, I think, and just kind of started brewing it on my own. And, my parents really liked it. They liked my flavor combinations. And we really decided that, there's no local kombucha companies. So this is a good opportunity to kind of give it a shot. And we found a commercial kitchen, which is a small kitchen, which you can, rent out and use it as needed. And we kind of started that way, doing farmers markets and slowly getting into stores. And then about a year ago, we were able to get our own facility and kind of up production like that. And one of my goals was always to have a tap room, have a place where people can come and enjoy kombucha and, kind of have an atmosphere that's not necessarily for alcohol, something a little different.
It's definitely a man-to-man slog, right? Like we've loved Laughing Gut here since we started buying it at Adam's. But we actually, Matt, we bumped into Adam at the Kingston Farmers Market. Mm-hmm. He was in his Laughing Gut booth. Because I gather with a drink like this, and especially a new brand that isn't GT's and sort of has national distribution, awareness is a big uphill climb, right? How do people hear about you? How do you get people to know about you?
I mean, we're in some stores, but the main way was, being at farmers markets. We don't do quite as many as we used to, but we did farmers markets all the time. And that's kind of how we got awareness by being at farmers markets. We've got some stores that way. And, it's usually me at the market. So, I'm able to, tell people about the product and they have questions about how it's brewed, which people ask me quite a bit. And I think that's really where it was, just the farmers markets and getting out there. And then the commercial kitchen kind of helped us as well. I saw a commercial kitchen in the basement and we made it upstairs. They had a little coffee shop and cafe. We were on tap there. And then they just had a bunch of resources and stuff. You can get some grants through them. So they were very helpful, the Open Kitchen Net, starting new companies and helping them grow.
How do you decide on your flavors? You have 6 core ones. You had a couple more on tap at the tap room. I think my favorite of yours is green tea because of the simplicity of it. But one of the things I love about kombucha is the Matt will take issue with this, but the infinite possibility of flavor. He's gotten me to agree to call it near infinite.
Yeah.
How do you explore? How do you get your inspiration?
Some of it just comes from, because I'm a cook and I love to cook and I love food. So some of it comes from that side of things. Some of it has been from recipes I've seen other people do and kind of do a little twist on it. But my goal is we always want to keep it, kind of tea focused, because that's the main ingredient of it. And if you notice on every label, we list the type of green tea, because most people don't know there's hundreds of different types of green tea and hundreds of different types of black tea. So we wanted specific like that. And we kind of wanted it flavors where you can taste every flavor, because some of them have 10 different things in them and you can't taste half of them. So, I kind of wanted to only keep it to 2 or 3 ingredients, per flavor and kind of make sure that you can kind of taste everyone in balance.
I wanted to ask about those flavors too. I mean, I haven't heard of some of those ingredients that are the primary ingredients. Maybe it's because I'm not a tea drinker either. And I do drink kombucha from time to time. But Duff pronounced it. I would have called it rooibos. How do you pronounce that? What is that?
So it's called rooibos. So it's basically a black tea from South Africa, okay. And it's a decaf black tea. And we use that in our ginger one, which I'm surprised a lot of people actually don't know about rooibos, even though it is widely available. You can get it in a lot of
I didn't know about it till I started making kombucha, because we bought some. We did a bunch of batches with it, but I'd never heard of it either. Okay. I think Matt's right. It's a tea drinkers thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's one of those where, flavors or words or ingredient that's very, very in my periphery of awareness. It's I think I've seen it before somewhere. Another one, butterfly pea flower. Don't know that one. Is an actual pea flower?
Well, it's not actually from the pea plant, so okay. It's actually a flower. It was gaining popularity, and that's just it's a dried flower, and it's just a cool way to incorporate some color in a kombucha that one's purple without actually having to add any artificial colors or anything like that. And it's fruity and floral, and then just kind of went with rosemary with that. That was actually my mom's idea, because I played around with basil with that and didn't quite work. I was try rosemary, and then that one kind of became popular. And we work with a soap company called Ash and Hopper Crafted to do a lot of the markets with us. And one of their more popular soaps uses that soap in there.
Oh, cool.
That kombucha in there.
And star anise was the last one. It's one of those things where it's like, it's kind of in my, kind of over there with the rooibos. Like I'm, I kind of know anise is usually like a black licorice flavor, right? Is that kind of? Yeah. Okay.
That's kind of it. I mean, it's very subtle in there. I've used star anise and things before. It's popular in like Indian cooking. And for some reason, I thought I've had a cookie that had like orange and star anise in it. And I think that's kind of where that came from.
Cool. They're all good names too. Like in addition to being good flavors, like I love butterfly pea flower, star anise, rooibos. I like the names of those flavors.
Yeah.
Marguerite was calling it orange zest for weeks before we broke it to her that it's orange zest, because Joey and I both thought it was so funny that she was like, I want the kombucha with the orange zest in it.
I think I'm pronouncing it zest from now on.
Yeah, you can pronounce it however you like, but yeah, it is zest. Because for us, we don't add any sweetened fruit juices or anything to add more sugar. Also, when you add more sugar, it can raise the alcohol level above the legal limit. So that's why I kind of use zest a lot. I use lime zest and some stuff. I use orange zest. I've used grapefruit zest before. So it's kind of a way to get some of the fruity flavors out, actually adding fruit juice.
What is the legal limit? What do you have to stay under?
You have to stay 0.5% or under, 0.5.
Okay.
Which they're actually working to raise that a little bit, because as a commercial producer, it's very hard to keep it that way. So they're trying to raise it a little bit to more around 1.
Hannah Crum, I think Matt had mentioned, she's like, think of it this way. If we think a lab test is great within plus or minus 1%,
yeah.
If you're at 0.5%, that's a problem. Even a top test is problematic because it may not even be able to grasp what's in there.
Yeah, it's so low, it's hard to be accurate. But.
Let me be blunt here. You are an inspiration to me, Adam, as someone for someone who's thought about various businesses in life, never launched any other than my writing business, which isn't really comparable. How did you get the guts to do this as opposed to, come on. How'd you pull the trigger? What was the moment like for people who have an idea in mind? What does the moment feel like? How do you get through not doing it to doing it?
That's a difficult question to answer. I've always kind of wanted to, run my own business. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, because I'm not great, quite frankly, working with other people. So it's kind of, as I have ADD, that people who have
welcome to the club. Yeah.
Tend to do better, on their own things. And a little bit of a push from my parents. I kind of wasn't sure where I wanted to go. They just started looking at commercial kitchens. And once they kind of just started a little bit, I hopped right on board and I kind of took it from there. So they gave me the initial little push just to do it a little bit sooner than I would have. I was like, eventually I want to do it maybe like in a few more years, but they just kind of gave me that little push and I kind of just went with it.
So Matt, when we visited, he and his mother had just finished canning. Where they literally, the two of them, one of them is filling and one of them is putting the top on the actual can. So it's not like a canning assembly line. Mm-hmm. Every single can you drink, he canned personally. The stuff in there, to me, when I looked at it, was a little, I wouldn't say intimidating, but did it freak you out, sort of going from a home to a commercial scale? Was that a challenging transition?
Yeah, it definitely was a challenging transition. Some of the equipment's kind of similar, so some of my beer background did help with that. But beer's kind of different. With beer, it's been around for a long, long time, so they kind of haven't figured out how to do it on a commercial scale. Kombucha, they're still trying to figure out how to do it on a commercial scale and keep it under the alcohol level. So it's still like a work in progress, and they're learning new information all the time, and they're changing some of the laws to make it a little bit easier. So in terms of that, and then when you get bigger batches, the process is not always exactly the same as homebrewing. And at a commercial scale, you have to make it more consistent. When you homebrew, it can come out different every time. It can come out a little more sweet, a little less sweet, which is part of the fun of homebrewing. But on a commercial scale, you kind of want to keep it somewhat more consistent.
For sure. What is so what's the most rewarding thing about the whole experience for you that sort of stands out in a way maybe that you didn't see it coming?
I was just like, I thought I made good kombucha, but I'm just surprised the reception that I got out of the gate, that people said, I have some of the best kombucha around. To this day, that still kind of surprises me. Like, I do think I'm a good brewer, but I didn't expect people to like it as much as they did.
Maddie's got a on tap, not in the can, so it's seasonal flavor, a jalapeno lime.
Oh,
which we tried down there.
Well, I like the spice. My favorite flavor that I've tried was the cayenne ginger. So jalapeno lime, that's right up my alley.
Yeah, that flavor. We wanted one flavor that's a little more like, some of our flavors are like gentle and stuff like that. We wanted one flavor with a little more punch to that. And we brewed it last year, and that's become a favorite every single summer. So the next plan is in the summer, we'll do a seasonal release for that. And I want to put that one in cans and then actually in the stores. So, and that one's also great, like mixed with tequila margaritas, if that's your type of thing.
That's my type of thing.
There you go, Matt. There you go. Tequila margarita with some Laughing Gut jalapeno lime kombucha.
That sounds delicious.
If you could make that, your signature drink in Toronto, and no one else, not possible. No one else would be serving that.
I might just do.
So we had Hannah Crum on, and I was speaking with your mother. Says Hannah Crum. You've been on some lobbying calls and stuff with her. Is kombucha do you feel like you're in a community? Do you interact with the kombucha world outside of just people who buy it and drink it?
Yeah. That's one of the kind of great things about it. Hannah Crum, we also did like a commercial consult. So when we were first starting out, we spoke on the phone with her for like an hour, and she helped us out and gave some tips and tricks about how to get started and some things we could do to help control the alcohol. So, we've worked with Hannah before. Kombucha wouldn't be where it is without her. I mean, she's kind of like, the queen of kombucha. I'm friends with most of them. There's Cross Culture down in Connecticut. When we were starting out, we visited his tap room. He's come up and visited us. We sometimes text back, exchange some information with him. That's Cross Culture in Connecticut, Danbury. And then there's Blessed Brew, which is actually in Fishkill. But they're smaller, and they just do farmers markets and that sort of thing. So we're friendly with him, which coincidentally, his name is Adam. And then there's also Yes Folks up in Albany, where his name is Adam. And then there's also one in London where the head guy's name is Adam. So pretty much everyone whose name is Adam in New York makes kombucha.
So I bought it in the store all the time, and then I started buying it on tap here on Route 28 from Brooklyn Kombucha.
Yep, Brooklyn Kombucha. Yep.
And Adam interacted with that guy. Who is it? Eric Childs.
Yeah, we work with him up pretty closely. So he owns a company called Abandoned Hard Cider, which is great hard cider. And before he started that, he had a kombucha company, and then consulting, doing homebrew class and stuff like that. So we work with him. He comes down and, if we're scaling up a recipe or we're having issues or just general, kombucha issues, he's the guy we talk to, and he helps us out, with all his knowledge. So he's great to work with. And, he was another guy that, is big in kombucha and kind of was a little bit ahead of his time. He had that company, a few years probably too early, but he was great. When I was homebrewing, I'd go up there. Yeah, he's great to work with.
What flavor is on your mind? Because if I walk into a store and there's a new Laughing Gut flavor, it's a really great day for me. So what are you thinking of?
So we have a winter seasonal coming up, which is chai spice, which has been very, very popular. I've been playing around with, I want to do something with cucumber. I'm not really sure what yet, but that's the next one kind of I've been playing around and thinking of. That's the fun part, is coming up with new flavors. Sometimes you can get kind of carried away and kind of overdo it, which I've done a few times, but Yeah, so cucumber's probably the next one, and thinking of some winter seasonal one, which I haven't really thought of what it would be yet. But playing around with pu'ertes, which is like a fermented black tea, which could go for good winter, and like cinnamon and stuff. But yeah, I'm just been playing around. I haven't had as much time to experiment with fun stuff as I would like, because I'm so busy making sure our core flavors are in stock. So
there we go, pu'ertes. That's what I was looking for, another obscure one. I was like, cucumber chai. They sound delicious, but I've heard of them, so I like the pu'ertes.
All right. Well, look, Adam, it's been a thrill to have you on here because you're an inspiration to me. For anyone in the New York area, Laughing Gut, look for it. Adam, where are you in stores right now?
So we're in about 30 stores, mainly this area in New York. A few in Brooklyn, but up here we're in most of the Adam stores. We're in the Nature's Pantry store. We're in like Beacon Natural Market here in Beacon, where I live. And you can check our website where we have an updated list of stores. So we're constantly adding new stores.
People don't send kombucha through the mail, do they?
Some companies do. We are working for that because in the winter it's a little bit slower because we don't have the farmers markets. We're working on figuring out shipping and just local, because the problem is you have to keep it cold. So
you got to be like a Fresh Direct, or you got to get into one of those things.
Yeah, there are companies that do it. So we are working on trying to do it. We start very small, just like local New York City, Albany's local, but that's our next plan.
And also anyone in New York. So the tap room is in Poughkeepsie, 289 Main Street, in a little like a snazzy sort of little corporate upscale retail development. If you happen to be driving by Poughkeepsie, there's your reason to stop. Check their website. What is it? laughinggut.com?
Yep.
Check their website for hours. But it is, I can't praise it enough. Like, for all this talk, Adam, you make one of my, I'm going to put it this way, one of the favorite things I put in my mouth. No, it's delicious. It's the best kombucha commercially I've ever had. Love all the flavors. You're doing something right. Thanks for joining us, and good luck with it.
Thanks, Adam.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no joke. Adam makes the best kombucha that you can buy in a store.
Well, Duff, I've got news for you.
What's that?
I was in the town of Collingwood last weekend at my friend Julie McDonald's house, and I had the pleasure
I've heard of her.
I had the pleasure of sampling 2 different types of kombucha called the Rockledge Rasa.
And
pretty delicious.
It's good stuff, right?
It's really good stuff. I had Wattsberry mint, again on the ingredients that I've never heard of.
No, that's a joke. That was a joke. Our friend Jamie Watts gave it to us. That's wineberry. It's like a little raspberry.
Okay. Oh, a little. I mean, again, I don't know what wineberries are. They're like mini raspberries, like mini wild raspberries.
Yeah, sort of. They're sort of super powered raspberries.
Yeah. And then the other one was, I think, lavender Wattsberry even mint. But I have to say, I really like the mint. Like the mint almost comes in as an aftertaste. Like I didn't taste the mint at the beginning. I tasted the Wattsberry, although I didn't know what that was.
And Adam's chamomile mint is like that too. It's delicious.
Yeah.
No, it's but he makes a good point. Like we have go through cycles. Like it got so hot here recently. I think my scobies may have given up the ghost. The last 2 batches, something was weird. So when we get back from vacation here, we're gonna have to probably get new scobies. Oh, he also gave us some Laughing Gut SCOBY. So
cool.
We're gonna switch over one of our vats. We make Jun, which is honey kombucha. He makes like cane sugar kombucha. We're going to switch over one of our vats to make actual kombucha again, but with a Laughing Gut SCOBY. I'm so fired up. It's like he makes the best there is. So this is like basically getting a starter from a great mother right? So
Awesome.
everything's gonna be different here. It's really impressive. Look at that guy. Like he's like he wanted to be a brewer, and he got iced out of it by his own body.
Yeah.
Right. So no surprise that he ended up in kombucha, which is a brewing exercise, but also with gut health benefits. Right. Like that was like a beacon in the night for him.
And now you are part of the community.
Right. So we know the president of KBI, the great Hannah Crum. We know Adam Benziger, local brewing expert and just master brewer. It's so good. It's so subtle. We didn't really get into it on that call, but the reason his stuff is better, he mentioned it in passing. He said, I try not to go too crazy. I try to keep it to 2 flavors, right? So much of commercial kombucha, people lose control and start making it some kind of magic potion concoction, whereas his stuff leans toward less, not more. So you can really taste the tea in it. He's right. And it's for people who like the sort of general flavor of kombucha, right? So if you have a taste for that, for like the taste of the mother, the fermenty thing, then you don't want people to obscure it with like a flavor assault. You want them to sort of ride on top of that flavor platform delicately, which is what he does. I can't praise it enough. So on which note, I've got one for you. This one's a little complex, but it comes from a little bit from Laughing Gut, which delights me every time I drink it. So the difference between delight and desire.
Okay.
Right. So delight, it occurred to us the other day, right? It's of light, right? It's a mélange of French and English. I'm going to say it means of light.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. By that. Yeah. Delight.
So light basically means 2 things, right? Or typically either illumination or of little weight, right? It's lighter, not heavier. And also light, of course, is as light as it gets. So delighting, the yogis talk about delighting in your existence, right? So basically the goal is to be able to grasp and hang on to the sheer delight that it is to exist. Desire, on the other hand, is wanting something that either you don't have or that isn't, right? Like you want something to change. So the difference between the two, which is made clear all through the yogas, is that delight of existence is far superior than desire for any one thing. And one of the ways they explain that, I was reading Aurobindo, but I'm not going to read the quote from him because I got another one for you later, is so there's the different planes of existence, right? There's the body, right? Like the physical plane. Then you have the mental plane, right? Which, your desires, your physical desires versus your mental desires are of a very different nature, right?
That's the one I'm stuck on, right?
What, physical?
No, the mental plane.
Right. So mental plane. Right. Exactly.
That's where I
intellect.
Live. Yeah.
And then further up are like you get to the plane of bliss ultimately. Most desires sort of reside a little closer to the physical, right? Like we want things or we want sensations. You can desire for a better situation or a better relationship with someone. So that's mental. But the farther away you go from the physical, the closer you get to delight, right? Because at the very top of the pyramid is the fact that you exist. And to delight in that is better than spending your time wanting things. And just to close it out, right? Like if you can get a hold of the delight of existence, meaning you're at peace and happy, or like regardless with whatever's happening in any given moment, you don't need anything, right? That's the goal, if you can delight in the fact that you exist, you don't really have desires. That's what we're trying to do in this house. Other than a good can of Laughing Gut Kombucha. I desire that all the time.
Delightful.
So Joey came down to the Laughing Gut tap room with me, took some pictures, which we will probably have in our socials. She also loves this stuff and has a better way of describing it than I normally do, like most things. So why don't we find out what the Sage of Sages thinks of Adam Benziger's kombucha. Okay, so here we are again with the all-time favorite segment of How to Tickle Yourself podcast, speaking to the Sage of Sages and finding out the straight dope from Joey Moss. What would Joey do? Welcome back to the program, Joey.
Thank you, Duff. I'm happy to be here.
We're big fans of kombucha in this house, and I made the claim earlier here that Laughing Gut is the favorite commercial kombucha of all three people who live in this house. First question, is that true?
Yes, it is indeed.
So you and I went down to visit Adam at his tap room last week in Poughkeepsie. And for me, it was like going to an amusement park almost. It was so exciting. What'd you think of the operation?
I thought it was amazing. Like, I love that it's a family business. You know, I had a family business years ago, so I could kind of relate. I love everything about their kombucha. Like, we used to go before we knew we could go check out the tap room and their operation there. We would just completely wipe them out at the grocery store. Like, we'd buy all of the kombucha that they had of theirs, all of the Laughing Gut. We would buy all of it.
So what, the question on anybody's mind, what is your favorite of the core flavors of Laughing Gut and why?
Lavender, of course, because lavender is one of my lifelong tickles. I love it. I love essential oil lavender. I love lavender flowers. I love our lavender mint kombucha. And they make a lavender kombucha that's amazing. So that's an easy question.
What about the jalapeno lime that they had on tap? We've kind of been doing a jalapeno mint thing here recently. Did you like his seasonal brew?
I did, but I especially liked the one with the hops in it. It was like it was like drinking flowers. It was amazing.
So you saw me all excited like a little boy in the Laughing Gut tap room. Did you come away from it inspired too? He's young. He's 35, and he's launched his own business, and it's the whole thing. Every single thing he does is great.
It definitely inspired me to grow some hops.
Thank you, Joey. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you, Duff.
Yeah, I saved you on an Oribindo there. I've got one to close it, and it's actually one of the shortest ones ever. And it's the following, and this is a kombucha quote too. He says, all problems of existence are essentially problems of harmony. Right? So if everything's a vibration, right, ultimately at the core, the only time things go wrong is when you're in a disharmonious relationship with either your own existence or things around you. One of the great things about kombucha that Hannah described to us is she said because it's a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, those two things have figured out a way to live in harmony in it, and it brings harmony back to your stomach, which brings harmony back to your life. So if all problems of existence are essentially problems of harmony, kombucha is one of the answers to those problems. I cannot recommend it enough. Bring your life back into the center, right? And right. So, agreed.
It passes the vibe check.
It passes the vibe, right? The vibration check. There you go. Everything's in harmony. Thanks for listening, people. We especially thanks for listening to our second episode on kombucha in a very short period of time. But we're chasing our tickles here, right? It's what we do. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with you next week.
Bye-bye.
At the present moment, traveling town to town, the mystery of the motion, right here, right now, right here, right now, whoa, right here, right now.
You've been listening to How to Tickle Yourself with your hosts Duff McDonald and Matt McButter. You can help us by liking, subscribing, and sharing this podcast with others. You can talk to us and see what else is happening on Instagram and Facebook at How to Tickle Yourself. This program was recorded in Studio B of the historic Rockledge Recording Studio and the Tunnel under Arundel. Right here, right now, our original 16-part theme music was written and recorded by the legendary Paul Reddick and Kyle Ferguson of the Sidemen, with the brilliant Steve Mariner on bass and drums and in the mixing room. The podcast is produced and distributed by Storic Media. Our editor is Andrew Steiner. Our coordinator is Samantha Abramovitz. Our producers are Kristen Verbitsky and Chuck LaBella. For more information, visit storicmedia.com. That's STORIC media.com.
My love, my dear,